Hello everyone, this is 3D Quads. In today's session, we will texture this model, which looks like this actually. This is the model itself, and this is a render of it after I textured it. So I will go through the process of texturing it using Substance Painter. But first, we need to export it out of Blender. So let's start together. So this is my object here, and before I export it, actually I need to make sure that this model first of all has a nice let's say mesh or a clean mesh. If I enable the wireframe here, you'll see that this is the mesh. This is how I planed or I designed this model, and here it is. I think it's a decent mesh. And the second thing that we need to make sure of, that we are giving this model a material. Give it any material that you wish. Give it a name. Just create a new material and give it a name. Now this is a single object. It does not consist of multiple objects, so it has only one material. I made it like this just to make things simpler for you and simpler for me to create this video on Substance Painter. Then the last thing that we need to make sure before we export this model is to have the wireframe, sorry, not the wireframe, the UV for this model. So we have a proper UV, as you can see here. Let me just close this picture, and this is the UV map of this model, and we have a kind of a little bit of stretch here, but overall it's nice UV and we can rely on it to do our texturing. So after we do all of these things, then all what we need to do is to select our model like this and go to File, Export, and export as FBX. Now pick a folder and put it like this. I've done so many trials before this one, so I'm gonna just replace this mailbox 1.fbx or make it 2, and we can start a new project just by clicking on limited to selected object, just only the selected object out of all the objects, and we don't need any of these things. Maybe we can take the mesh and others because of the material associated to this, and we don't have any animation, so just stick to these settings to simplify the FBX and export FBX to the location where you specified it. Now after that, just minimize this or open the Substance Painter. When you open the Substance Painter, we are going to create a new project for this. Just close and select File, New, and from here, this is how we start a new project. I need to take the template as Blender starter asset. This is one of the predefined templates, starter asset, and then select my object, mailbox 2, open, and for me I'm gonna select the resolution of this document as 2048 2K. Make sure that the normal map format is OpenGL. This works better with Blender, so DirectX might work better in other software solutions, but for Blender it's OpenGL, so keep it as OpenGL if you are going to use Blender. And after that, all what you need to do is just to import it. Now the system is importing our object. This is it. This is how it looks like in our Substance Painter. There are no textures except one texture set in the list, which is mailbox, the name of the material that we exported this object with. So to start, there are many or simple steps that we need to do before we start painting or we start doing anything. We need to go to Mode and to Bake Mesh Maps, and mesh maps are actually some images that Substance Painter will generate for us that describes the normal of this object, the normal map of this object, the world space normal, color ID as well, ambient or material ID or color ID, then ambient occlusion, and this is very important for us. Curvature is very important as well, and the other maps position and thickness. Now these maps are really necessary for you to build a proper texturing or to do a proper texturing, because you need them when you use some filters or some generators. We will see during the work how can this help. Now before we click on bake selected textures here, I need to select the output size of these maps, and I will go for a little bit high, 2K. You can go for higher, it depends on how high resolution you would like these maps to be, but for me 2048 is fine for that. And then I just need to put the anti-aliasing to 4x, for example. That's gonna just smooth the edges of these the colors in this map, in these maps. And all what I need to do is to select bake selected textures. Now the system will start baking these textures, as you can see here, and when it finish we will find that's it, it's done, because it's single material. If you have multiple objects, multiple materials, this will take longer time. And when you finish, just go to paint mode again, return to paint mode, and obviously this model right now has something additional to the model that we imported earlier. Like we see some shadowing or some ambient occlusion effect that's already better now before we even touch it. So after that we can start doing the paint, and this is what we will do in the next session. If you didn't subscribe yet, just push that button, and see you next.